Hi, everybody. We're just a minute or two before the hour, but I wanted to jump on ahead of time and make sure everybody could get in okay. So if you're watching this on the replay, you could probably fast forward like 2 or 3 minutes. But if you're here live, I'd love to say hi. Great. Wonderful to see you all. Hi, everybody. Yay. A little hello chat. Hello, hello. Good. Great. How's everybody doing? It's a beautiful day here in Southern California. I know it's getting to be kind of winter in a lot of the places around here. There's people jumping in. Hi, Kathy. She says, I love your red today. Well, thank you. Thought I'd do something a little, snazzy. Hi, Angela. Hi, Steph. Hi, everyone. Jeffifer, how are you? Wonderful to see you. Kathy from Lexington, Kentucky. Woo, woo, the Midwest. Woo. Eva, hi. Hi, everybody. Wonderful to have you here. Allison's in the UK. Hello from the Netherlands. Oh, wonderful. It just makes me so happy when you all, when we come together like this, for this community. Deborah says hello from Buenos Aires, from New Jersey, chilly Baltimore, I bet. Hi, Camille, Joanne, Randy, hi. Great to see you all. I have to say the response to this topic, this webinar, this how much should I charge, has been off the charts. I've offered a lot of free classes in my time, and I don't know that I've ever seen anything that resonated with people quite the way this one has. So I'm super excited to dive into the subject with you guys, because I can tell that you are super excited about getting into it as well. Nancy's in Canada, Kristen's in Brazil. Hi, Denver, wonderful to see you. Christine from beautiful Gilbert, Arizona, one of my favorite towns. I've spent an incredible amount of time in Gilbert, Arizona. Great to see you all. Let's go ahead and jump right in, because I like to be super prompt. Yeah, mostly I just want to welcome you. And I want to, let me give you a brief orientation. If you are having trouble with the streaming, if things start to buffer or I get stuck or frozen or something, if you move your cursor over onto the screen, for me it's up at the top, there's a little thing that looks like a gear, and if you click on that it says settings, and you can actually choose a different bandwidth, so that the sound and the video sync up a little bit better. Also, if you have not already closed any other applications, programs, internet windows, anything else you've got open, particularly background syncing, if you've got like Dropbox or Arc or Cloudflare or something that syncs automatically, pause it, because these webinars take up a huge amount of, hi Leonore, a huge amount of bandwidth. So everybody, this is Leonore, my team leader and right-hand person and friend to all of you.
Hi, nice to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. So we've got people from all over the world and still coming in. Wonderful to see everyone. I was just talking a little bit about the settings and how to adjust those. There is the chat here, and I'll be watching it as closely as I can. That's partly why Leonore is here too, to try and keep up. If you ask a question and it doesn't get answered, one of a couple of things has happened. One, we didn't see it, so you may want to ask it again. Two, I'm about to answer it, like I'll get to it. Or it's a little outside of the scope of this webinar. I'm going to try and keep our material to the stuff that's sort of generally interesting to everyone. I'll answer your specific questions as much as I can. So just know that. But you can always email me too, and I'll write you back personally if you really need an answer on something. So let's start the way I love to start, which is with our breathing. We're going to take a minute to acknowledge this minute. We're going to take a minute to be here together in this space. And in this space of inquiry, there's a lot of self-punishment that happens around money and around how much do you charge and how much do you make and is it okay? And I want to, and a lot of confusion, a lot of very foggy gray area. So I want to really center you into that part of you that is calm, that is knowing, that is wise, that is intuitive, that can really see the truth, even in complicated situations, that doesn't let your ego or your programming or your family stories interfere with what you know your work here in the world is. So we're just going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and we're just going to do that one time. So if you want to ignore it, it'll only take a second. But if you want to do it with me, get into your body for a second and drop your shoulders sort of down and back maybe, and sort of soften your gaze and give yourself a little Mona Lisa smile. Maybe keep your hands nice and loose. Are you ready? You're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. So when you registered, there was a little survey, and I wanted to share with you the results of what you all said so that if nothing else, you know that you are not alone. The initial questions were just, I can't figure out what to charge, and about 50% of you said, I don't know what to charge. 51% said, I know what to charge, but I don't think anyone will pay it. 40% said, I chicken out when I'm asking for the money. And about 20% said, I feel like maybe I should just give this away. So obviously I allowed people to answer, pick more than one answer because that adds up to more than 100%. But notice how many of you were having so many of the same feelings. And in the comments, there were a lot of really beautiful, expressive, and really honest remarks that you made about how you feel about charging and your work and the marketplace and what to do about it. And I sort of categorized your responses into types, into clumps, into areas of concern. And I wanted to share with you those as well. So a full 27% of you said something along the lines of, I'm not sure I'm worth it. I'm not sure that if I say what my price is, people won't just laugh or walk away. I'm not confident enough that my value is really there. I'm not willing to own the I'm worth it hat. About 20% of you were just plain confused. Just straight up like, I have no idea what to charge. I'm new at this, or I don't know what the market will bear, or I've been broke for so long that I know that I could never afford to pay my own rates, so I don't even know what's realistic. Like just a lot of stickiness and confusion and lack of clarity. About 20% of you said that it's really about sales. Like people are interested and you're interested, but when it comes to actually asking for the money, actually making the sale, things go a little south. This I thought was fascinating, and I would never have guessed this, but knowing you all as I do, it doesn't surprise me at all. About 15% of you said that sort of you were protecting other people, like that you knew other people were struggling financially and you didn't want to overburden them, or you really wanted to do what was fair. You didn't want to exclude anyone, which I thought was really lovely and so typical in my experience of creative people, how protective and loving you all are. About 10% were just flat out fear of rejection. Like, I just don't want to know what they say if they say no. And about another 9% were concerned about the competition. Like there's other people who will do it cheaper, or I'm already kind of high priced in my area. I don't know that I can really get away with charging more. Concerns about your concerns are based on what other people are doing. So I thought this was super interesting. And Especially because here's what I notice about all of these things: the confusion, the lack of self-worth, the wanting to protect other people. It's 100% inside your own head. Did you notice this? All of this, 100% of these concerns are inside of your mind. They are not external concerns. It's not about the economy. It's not about the marketplace. It's not about the cost of goods sold. It's not about what the latest tax laws are. It's about you. The great news is that it's about you. It's 100% inside of your own mind, so it is 100% within your control to change. So what I want to do before I even get started on digging into this material is, do I have your agreement that what's happening here is happening inside of your mind? That you have 100% responsibility and 100% ability to control and to change how you feel about what you charge and how you feel about charging it. Can I just get a, yeah, okay, I'm with you, Sam? Like, yes, 100%, yes, it's all me.
While we wait the 2 minutes for the responses to come in, I think it was really striking, Sam, when we were looking at the results from this, that there's so much internal storytelling and anxiety that's produced by all of this, and yet it, as you say, it's all happening inside the mind. We're just talking about what a misuse of our own mental energy.
Exactly. And if you're going to tell a story, why not tell a story that says, I love what I charge and people can't wait to pay me, right?
Right. Yeah, the yeses are piling in. Yeah, just that even when it is about the market or the competition, it's actually not. It's about our own internal perception of that and anticipation of what other people will think of us, or how the market or the tax laws, which I know, I'll speak from experience. When I spin out of control about that, it's not that I am an economist with a nuanced understanding of that, but more the projection of why it feels hard.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And thank you all for chiming in here. Yes, 100% agree. We psych ourselves out. The stories, and I like the honesty of agree in my head, but not with my heart, or kind of agree. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to 100% agree, but just I want to let you know that that's mostly what we're going to be talking about today. I think there was another question earlier. Will there be a replay? Yes, there will be a replay. And is anything else come up that I didn't see? Okay, this looks pretty good. Okay. Great. And I know some of you talk about the stories you're telling. I know for a fact that some of you are playing a game called Get That Money Away From Me. I know for a fact that there are people who are trying to pay you, or they are trying to pay you more, and you are telling them no. Is that true of you? And I know, and the reason I know this is because it was true of me. I remember getting asked to speak at an event years and years and years ago, really even before the Organized Artist Company, I think, even really existed. I mean, I was teaching the Get It Done workshop occasionally as sort of one of the million things that I did. But some friends of mine asked me to teach with them at an event they were having. And as we were planning, they said, well, Sam, do you have like a coaching program, or are you willing to take private clients? Because, after people hear you speak, they're really going to want to work with you like one-on-one. And I was like, oh, no. First of all, they're not going to want to do that. And second of all, I don't think I really, no. I had an opportunity to save my own economic behind in this moment. And did I do it? No, because mentally I wasn't there. It didn't make sense to me that what I had to offer was worth money, or that I had something to teach people that was going to be really valuable for them. So I know, because I did it, because people tried to oh, can I pay you to this? Can I pay you to that? And I was like, no. I was talking with my tax guy yesterday, and we were talking about how when he first started doing taxes, because I met him when we were both actors. We were a member of a theater company together in Hollywood. And so we've known each other forever. I trust him 100%. Once you've been on stage with somebody, you know them. And he was saying how when he first started, and he was charging like $75 to do people's taxes, and how I was one of his first clients. And the first thing I said to him was, you have to start charging a lot more. And I think I even overpaid him that first year, because I just wouldn't let him pay as little as he was charging. I wouldn't let him charge as little as he was charging. So notice for yourself if you are playing the no, get that money away from me game. Okay, good. So, like I said, I get this because I lived it. You know, I was living the artist life in Los Angeles and in Chicago for many years, and I had a million grillion odd jobs and part-time jobs. I ran the box office at the Second City. I delivered flowers. I did scarf tying demonstrations in the department store. I was a receptionist. I produced radio shows. I taught classes. I mean, you name it. I was a personal assistant. Like I did it. And while it was fascinating and I learned a lot of things about a lot of different industries, I was forever broke. And when I started teaching the Get It Done workshop and then sort of coalesced that underneath the umbrella of the Organized Artist Company and started doing more of my own work in that way and charging for it, my whole life turned around. And in not very, I mean, I started doing this full time in 2009, and it's about to be 2016. So what's that, 5-6 years? We're not going to hit $500,000 this year, but we will next year for sure, and we're pretty close this year. Everything good that has come to me in my life. I mean, now I have this beautiful life that I love. I live right near the beach. I just had a conversation yesterday with my editor at my publishing house about my new book, and they're super excited. And it looks like that's going to come out like really soon, like 2016. You know, my life is not particularly fancy, but it suits me, and I can do pretty much whatever I want, which for the creative person, I think is kind of the ideal. And what got me here was being willing to charge for the workshops and the work that I did. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about this inner game stuff, these stories that we're telling ourselves, and see if I can't give you some new information or insights there and maybe move the needle on that a little bit. I'm going to answer as many of your questions as I can. I'm going to introduce to you a new workshop that I'm going to be teaching starting in January. You guys are going to be the first to hear about it. So if you're interested in working with me more, this is going to be a great opportunity to jump in on that. That'll take just a couple of minutes. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you the one simple sentence that I learned to say. It's actually two sentences. The two simple sentences I learned to say that changed everything for me. That meant that no one ever quibbled with me on price again. So I will share with you what that is, and we'll see if it doesn't turn your life around as well. And then I'll stay on the line and do as much Q&A as I can, or as you guys have time or questions for. Does that seem acceptable? That seem like a good plan? How are we doing? Everything okay on the chat over there, Leonor?
Yeah. Lisa is asking, would you be willing to break down where your income comes from? For example, workshops, products, coaching, etc. And Kathy says she can't hear or see anything. Try refreshing. Close out your browser. Try in another browser. And Mariah is saying that she charges a fair price and she holds to it, but she can't get people to pay her, so she has to pro bono events to even get a trial audience.
I have an answer for you, Mariah, but yeah. To break down, almost all my income comes from workshops. Almost all of it. I do a little bit of private coaching. I do some speaking engagements. I have some revenue from affiliates and from book sales. But almost all of it comes from teaching. Good. Okay, so let's just get into one quick thing here about money itself, because that's part of the problem. You know, is that it's money, which just, if there's one thing that people are going to put all of their insecurities, all of their family stories, all of their history, all of their, like, every issue in the world gets plonked onto the face of money. So let's look at that for just 1 second. Complete this sentence for me. Money, to me, money feels what? Or to me, money is what? And just whatever sort of bubbles up for you. Like, for me, money is sticky. For me, money is frightening. For me, money is alluring. For me, money is elusive. For me, money is dirty. For me, money feels warm and fuzzy, like a hug from a boyfriend. What does it feel like to you? What does it feel like to you? I'm really interested to see what your thoughts are. Good. And it'll take a second until between you guys type and when I see it. But what I want to, whoops, oh, Lena, you're muted. What were you saying?
So you want me to, some of what's coming in is abundance, evasive, frustrating, hard, safety, confusing, means freedom, just out of reach, get right there, dirty and sacred both. Money means freedom, security, a means to an end, not there, a source of power, feeling heavy but getting lighter. It feels like want in the way that can be both a good and a bad feeling.
Great, great, good. So what we notice is that money is the symbol of an energetic exchange. And for many of us, and for me, money is the symbol of a sacred exchange. And so let's think, what are some other sacred exchanges? Right? Love is a sacred exchange. Giving a hug to someone, being there with someone, listening, that's a sacred exchange. Sharing a meal with someone can be a sacred exchange. Prayer is a sacred exchange. Making something together, building something, cooking together can be a sacred exchange. But I notice you don't really have those feelings about those other things. And it can be sort of funny, if nothing else, to put another word in place of money. Like, you know, love is elusive, heavy and light, dirty and sacred and profane and not here. Well, we know love is here, right? Or even more, you know, this idea that there's scarcity around money. I mean, we don't worry about anything else. We don't think like there's not enough strawberry jam. You know, strawberry jam is elusive. Strawberry jam is hard to get to. People don't want to part with their strawberry jam. You know, it's just another thing. If strawberry jam were the instrument of currency, you might have those feelings about strawberry jam, but you don't. You've put all this story onto money. So that's just a point of inquiry for you. And if it bubbles up something potent, I really urge you to make some art about it. Draw a little picture, make up a song, make up a story about that dirtiness, that complicatedness, that stickiness, that complicatedness, that love, that lightness, that freedom, that abundance, whatever it calls up for you. If it feels like there's an emotional eddy there, like there's some stuck energy, making some art about what you believe about money can really help get you unstuck. It can really help you start to see money from another perspective. Start to loosen the screws a little bit so that you're not always stuck in the one perspective, or you're not always snapping back to that one sort of old belief that's really deep in there. You know, you can loosen it up a little bit. And you guys know this is not your first trip around the self-help block. There are tons of coaches and experts out there who have a million great exercises around money, family money, money stories. If you need some suggestions, I'd be happy to give them to you. But I also urge you to come up with your own. You guys are good strategists. Think of it. Think of your own, worksheet that you might use to clean up some of your feelings around money. One of the guiding principles in my business is treat them like you like them. Treat them like you like them. Treat your customers like you like them. Treat your products like you like them. Treat your team like you like them. Treat money like you like money. How do we treat people that we like? How do we treat things that we like? We are respectful. We are courteous. We are kind. We are gentle. We do what needs to be done. We don't dissemble or delay. We don't run away in fear. We show up. And I guarantee if it is not okay with you that you have money, it will be very difficult for you to have money. Let me say that again. If it is not okay with you that you have money, it will be very difficult for you to make and accumulate money. Not impossible, but very challenging. So I urge you to write your own prescription for whatever you think you might need to do to get down to the bottom of what some of this stuff is around money. Because you guys are smart and you process really fast, so I don't think it'll take you very long. Good. Good, excellent. These are great comments, you guys. I'm so happy to see this. You're so articulate. I love you guys. Okay, good. Now I want to address this. The second thing I want to talk about here is really the hugest part of this whole thing, I think, which is this question of worth. Am I worth it? Is my work worth it? I know what I want to charge, but I don't think other people will think that it's worth it. I know I'm worth it, but I can't find other people who think that it's worth it. I tell them what it's worth and they walk away. Like this worth question is huge. You are thinking about it completely backwards. You are thinking about this 100% upside down. So let's get you right side up. You are thinking, pardon me, that the worth or value has to do with you. If you are worth it, if your work is worth it, that is not the question. The question is it worth it to them? Is it worth it to them? What is it worth to them? To the people who need it, to the people who want it, to the people who are interested in it, to the people who collect it, to the people who are fans, to the people who are starving for it. To you, a glass of water may be just a glass of water. To a person in the desert, it's life. What is that glass of water worth? To you, with a tap? Almost nothing. To the person who's severely dehydrated, they'd pay you anything. So what is it worth? You have to get off of yourselves. This weird little self-involved, like, I don't know if I'm worth it. I don't know if it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about them and being of service to them in a way that is significant to them. And by them, I mean your clients, your customers, your fans, your students, them, the people with the wallets. These are the people that we're interested in. You think about some of those collectibles, some of those, Disney collectibles, a little tin pin, that in 1952 they made 1 billion of. What's the value of that pin? To me, nothing. To somebody who collects Disney stuff, could be hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars because it has value to them. So what you think your work is worth is irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. The question is, what is it worth to them? And if you are like Mariah, and you have a amount you want to charge for your work, and the people you're offering to don't see the value, you are offering it to the wrong people. That's not a problem with your pricing or your offer. That's a problem with your market, with your target market. You need to offer it to different people. You need to find the people who are already into it, who already see the value, and will be happy to pay you. And we'll talk more about that ideal client thing in a little bit. And I know some of you are in a art or healing, and it feels sort of soft. Like, well, how do you assign a value to that? Like, it's one thing if you're business coaching and you can say, well, I can help you double your sales. And if your sales last year were $50,000 and this year they're going to be $100,000, I could charge you $50,000 and be totally worth it because I've just helped you make that much, and presumably you could make that much again and again and again, right? That's kind of easy math to do. And if you're in something where there is in fact an immediate financial benefit, absolutely use that as part of your pricing strategy. But for some of you who offer things that are maybe a little softer, I was having a lot of fun imagining these stories the other night as I was working on this curriculum, but I was thinking about like a massage therapist. So if you give someone a massage and you're really good, you're not just moving their skin around, you're actually really healing them. And you guys know who you are, and you know who the masseuses and healers are in your neighborhood that really, it's more than just a massage. It's really a healing experience. And then that person who gets the massage goes home and is feeling so sort of calm and relaxed, and maybe they have a really great conversation with their kid because they're not all jumpy and snappish. You know, maybe they get a great night's sleep, and maybe they go to work and they're really able to listen and be present. And maybe that allows them to see an opportunity in their business or respond to a situation with a tremendous amount of grace and presence and well-being. And maybe that gets them the $50,000 raise. So how much is that massage worth? How much is it worth it to have a conversation with your child in which you are not snapping at them? How much is it worth it to have a great night's sleep? How much is it worth to be really present at work and be of service to your job and help the whole world be more prosperous? Can you put a dollar amount on that? You probably could. You probably could. You know, if you're having good communication with your child so you don't have to go to the family therapist, well, that's probably several grand in therapy money that you're not going to have to pay. Right? Or, you know, artwork, paintings, the art on my wall, I mean, how many times a day do I look at it? And how much joy does it bring me every single time? If I paid a nickel for every time I looked at it and went, oh, I love that piece, how much is that worth? Or maybe, you know, someone comes over and they're impressed by it, and we have a better relationship. What's that better relationship worth? You see where I'm going with this? Now I'm kind of making up stories, but it's real. It's a real thing. And when you start to understand the ripple effect of what you do, you know, that piece of jewelry that you have that makes you feel sexy and strong. You know how you feel when you put those special things on, and you're so glad that you paid extra money for that because it's part of the value of it. Right? You love to tell the story of how you got it from this vendor, or how, you know, you were at this little crafts market in La Paz and found this thing. So the value is far beyond the cost of goods or the time spent. It's about the result. The value is about the result. The value is in the result. Are you with me? Is this starting to like turn some wheels for you? Like, the value is in the result. It's not about you. It's about them. It's about them. Good. So how are we doing?
Good. Tracy says, what I think I'm worth is irrelevant. Actually, she first writes irreverent. And then she says, I meant to type irrelevant. What a great lesson. Nancy asks, how do you find the right people to offer to?
Yes, so we'll get to some of that. But I want to talk about some of the other elements of pricing, right? Of how much should you charge. So the things we talked about so far is getting over your idea that money is something that you're not supposed to have, or that's icky or gross or confusing. Treat money like you like it. Treat money like it's strawberry jam. And getting over the idea that the worth of your work is about you and your judgment about what your work is worth, and it's really about them and what the value is to them, what the result that they are getting, and how much is that worth. Okay?
Can I jump in, Sam, for a second? There's a question that I think would be helpful for you to speak to at this point, which is, so Steph points out, it makes me think that how important it is to know what results we bring. And Karen asks, how do you capture the value to them when the product is experiential learning and you don't always know what they will get out of it up front, which I think probably is the case for a lot of artists, healers, and creatives on this call, and not people who are creating something that has a clear financial result.
Right. So one of the ways to do that is to really get inquisitive with your people. And this is a great way to find out whether or not they're your right people, is ask them, you know, how is this problem affecting you? You know, so maybe you teach storytelling. You know, you've got people that you teach them how to get up on stage and tell a story. I have a friend who just did a workshop like that. She really enjoyed it. For her, the feeling that she had lost her own voice, that she wasn't telling her story, unpacking some of those old family memories and maybe turning them into a little bit of theater. That was really interesting to her. That had a lot of value. There's a lot of intangibles, but to be able to really say, how much is this hurting you? How many times a day are you thinking about this? What other measures have you taken to alleviate this problem? Because they're coming to you to solve a problem. And they've probably tried something else already. So so what are their other sunk costs? What else have they tried? How much is not taking care of the problem costing them? Right? You don't want to pay $250 to go see the chiropractor. On the other hand, if you leave this pain go, you could end up in surgery, which is going to be a lot more than $250. Right? And you can really help people quantify, even for things that are sort of ineffable, like how much, so you feel spiritually stuck, you don't know how to pray, let's say. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much trouble is that causing you in the course of your day? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you like to have a feeling of freedom and release around your spirituality?
Mm-hmm. I think also asking people, how has this affected you at work? I mean, physical pain, relationship issues, spiritual issues, often when that translates to absenteeism or the inability to produce. I mean, people then often can connect it to an actual financial loss.
For sure. There's also a thing they call presenteeism, which is when you're there, you're in the office, but you're playing Tetris, or you're hiding, or you're dicking around online, or you're just sort of walking the hallways with a clipboard trying to look busy. Like you're there, but you're not actually being productive.
Mm-hmm.
That's presenteeism can cost a lot.
Right. And also looking at the money that people are already spending and trying to solve this through other means that aren't working.
Exactly. So let's look at some of the other elements of pricing. There is the market price of comparable products, and you do want to know, what is it people are comparing you to? What is it people are comparing you to? Are they comparing you to a visit with a therapist? Are they comparing you to a massage? Are they comparing you to a makeover? Are they comparing you to a poster they can buy at Walmart? What are they comparing you to? And that's important to know, not because you have to match that price or even be anywhere near that price, but you need to know what's in their head about it. So, a private session with me is $750. People go, well, that seems like, that's a lot more than I pay my therapist. I'm like, right, because I will deliver a lot more value to you. A therapist you have to see every week for months. Me, you can see once. And I try to guarantee that I will give you 3 to 10 times value. Right? So you book a session with me, and I will try to guarantee that you get at least a $2,100 idea, and perhaps an $8,000 idea, and perhaps an $80,000 idea.
Yeah, I think once you know what people unconsciously compare you to, that helps you also know how to differentiate that right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So that in your presentation of yourself and your work, you can set yourself aside from, like, Sam is clearly not a therapist, and working with her is clearly really different from seeing a therapist every week. So that, in every way in which she presents herself, people who approach her to work with her are already not expecting that she's going to have a therapist's hourly rates. So as you build a long-term relationship with people, this is something that, then you're not having conversations with people who are shocked by what you charge.
Right. But I remember we did one of these webinars. I can't remember what it was for, but there was a woman on who made cakes. She made custom designed cakes with this incredible frosting, like totally Ace of Cakes quality. And she was all freaking out because people could buy a perfectly nice cake at Walmart. So why would they pay her any more than Walmart charged? And she put up a picture of one of her cakes in the chat. It was like Martha Stewart fondant decorated, this insanely gorgeous and obviously loved handcrafted cake. I'm like, you are so many millions of miles away from a Walmart cake. If somebody wants a Walmart cake, then they should go buy a Walmart cake. But that's not even a comparable for you. Like, if you're not at least 20 times more than that cake, you are doing yourself a disservice. And you really want to be offering that cake to people who are going to love it and appreciate the value, who are going to love and appreciate all the time and energy you took and how beautifully handcrafted it is. So you want to know what everybody else is charging and what are people comparing you to and what are those prices, just so it's a good piece of information for you to have. You need to know your cost of goods, right? If you're making stuff or there's stuff, you know, how much is your internet connection? How much is your massage oil? How much is your paint? You know, what are the materials that you're using costing you? And for some of you, this alone is like, oh no, I've never calculated. Right. It's hard to have a profitable business if you don't know how much you're spending. So what are your cost of goods? What's the cost of your time? You know, if you're paying yourself, you know, I would never pay yourself less than $100 an hour, because I noticed that I can't get a plumber for $100 an hour. I can't get a massage for $100 an hour. I can't get my hair cut for $100 an hour. Like other service provider, I certainly can't talk to my lawyer for less than $250 an hour. So $500 an hour? I forget what she charges. You know, so other service professionals are making at least that. You are worth at least that. So you want to make sure that the cost of your time is built in there. The cost of your overhead, right? So your month-to-month expenses of having your cell phone, having an assistant, having, you know, office supplies, all that other, you know, your website, the other sort of conditions of being in business or selling things that may not relate specifically to that product delivery, but contribute to the overall, your overhead, your business. What did I put here? Oh, you need to allow in some profit to the business, right? You need to put in some of your salary as a business owner, which is going to be different than your hourly rate in delivering services. On top of that, you also want to be paying yourself as the business owner. And then what you need to have for taxes. So this cost of goods, cost of your time, cost of overhead, profit to the business, salary to you, and taxes, those are all costs that you can calculate that need to go into how much you charge. You with me? Then you can start to add on things that people will happily pay more for. Those things include the benefit of your natural gifts. The fact that you are naturally good at this, that you are intuitive, that you are swift, that you've been doing it for a long time, you've got a huge amount of knowledge capital, you can solve these problems really quickly, you can see what other people can't see, you can charge extra for that. I would much rather pay extra to the person who just naturally understands, you know, how to set up a room for a party, or just naturally understands how to perform neurosurgery, than the person who really worked and has all the credentials, right? I mean, I still want my neurosurgeon to be credentialed, but you know what I'm saying. So you can charge extra just for the fact that you have a natural gift for this. You can charge extra when you're a good values match for the people that you're working with. Right? When I meet someone whom I feel like I get them, I get their value system, I get what they're about, I'm happy to pay them more, because I feel like we're going to be able to communicate better. They're going to understand me better and what my needs are. You know, when you don't share the same value system with people, it's really hard to communicate, because they're asking for stuff and you're like, why do you even want that? You know, and you're asking for things and they don't get it, and you're trying to say thank you and they don't even understand that you're saying thank you. Like, it's super confusing. But you find people that match your values, you're good. People will pay more for something that's local, for a local provider. People will pay more for something that's exclusive, right? That's not available to everybody. You can't get it off the shelf at Target. People will pay more for something that's really effective. That's one of the reasons why I can charge so much for a one-off session, is I'm really effective. I work really fast. I can get more done in one session than most people can in 10. So that effectiveness is calculated into my rate. You with me?
Awesome.
So, go ahead.
Go ahead. There are a couple of questions.
Okay, let me do one other part, and then we'll.
Yeah.
We're looking at 3 pieces to things you want to consider as you're calculating your price. These the market price. There's actually four, I guess, because there's the market price of comparable products. There's all those actual physical costs, costs of goods, your salary, overhead, taxes. There's the additional benefits that you can charge for. And then finally, the last thing I want you to take into consideration when you're pricing is two things. One is what I think of as resonance, which is, I think, a phrase I got from Mark Silver. Some of you may know Mark. He has a coaching business called Heart of Business. And he was the first person I ever heard really talk about this, where you really want your number to feel great. You really want it to feel good, like just a good number, like it just matches. And there's a number of ways you can do that. And again, you guys are super inventive. You could probably come up with your own little meditation practice around numbers. I remember doing one time where I was trying to decide on a price for a workshop, and I had sort of a range, and I would write down a number and then just like check in, like, how do I feel about charging that amount? How do I feel about charging that amount? How about this amount? How about this amount? And I kept going until I was charging like $1 million. And I was like, you know, I think for somebody, this workshop would really be worth $1 million. I could do that. And not that I would, but it was interesting to know that I felt like I could, like the resonance with the work and the pricing was such that that was there for me. So I want you to pick numbers that you like. Pick numbers that you like, that you feel resonant with, and or that have a story that makes sense because of the story. So for example, the Get It Done workshop that I teach in the spring is $365 because it's $1 a day for your project. Right? That's how I came up with the price of that. And it's a little bit of a because that makes people go, oh, I get it. Okay, $365 because it's $1 a day for your project. That makes sense to me. Sure. So you may have a story like that. You know, you may say, well, it's $1,967 because I was born in 1967. Oh, okay. You know, you're allowed to do that, right? You can just pick a number that you love and that you have a story about and have that be your number. And then there's that value thing. You know, are people getting 3 to 10 times more value out of what you're charging? Right? Okay, so what are the questions that we had?
Here's one of them. How does one deal with men getting paid more than women? Are they more confident, or is it just an assumption of superiority?
They ask for it. So they get it. So the way to deal with it is to ask for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very, I read a great article in The Atlantic last year about the confidence gap in the workplace, and that men will apply for promotions or put themselves forward for promotions when they're like, what is it, like 30-40% sure that they'll get it, and women won't do it unless they're like 90% sure that they'll do it. So I think there is a huge confidence gap. Yeah. Okay. Kristen asks, as I scroll down, sorry, Karen asks, how do you capture the value? No, sorry, I see this already. I'm getting lost in the chat. How do you offer benefits, this is from Leslie, without promising when you cannot guarantee value?
Well, you can just say, you know, some of my clients have seen this result. You know, one of the things I hear a lot from people who've worked with me is, you can just tell a specific story. I had one client who came to me with this problem, and when she left, she said she felt this way. So then you're sort of letting other people tell your story for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think so. Kristen, I can't find your original question, but it was something along the lines of, she is, she lives in Brazil. She's an English teacher. Her rates compared to other non-native teachers are high, but she knows that the experience that they get with her is much different than they get with other teachers. But how can she communicate that to people who don't know that already? Right.
So there's two things I can think of to do. One is really position yourself as the exclusive high-end teacher. And in any market, you know, there's somebody who's going to charge 10 times more than what everybody else charges. And they don't even really have to advertise. You know, they just get passed around the elite, you know, the people who love to pay top dollar for things. And just, have you met her? She's amazing. Oh, well, but she's incredible. You know, well, we use her. Well, we wouldn't, you know, my animal acupuncturist, you know, she's incredible. She's not like the other ones, right? So you just position yourself in that way, and you only work with the people who love to pay super top dollar. They're not really comfortable unless they're paying more than 10 times more than everybody else is. And there's people like that out there. I sometimes am one of them. The other thing I can think of to do is to rename what you're doing so that it reflects the greater value of what you're doing. So you're not just an English teacher, you're helping, I don't know what you do, but you're helping them with their manners, you're helping them with cultural exchange, you're helping them become better young men and women, you're helping them make an easier transition into adulthood, you're helping them with the subtleties of English, and especially humor, or especially whatever, right? So you're selling them not just the actual task of learning English, but this whole other package of this focus around spiritual development, or manners and politeness, or really getting into the culture. If I wanted to learn Japanese, I wouldn't just find someone who spoke Japanese and pay them as little as I could. I would find the person who was the best at translating Japanese culture to an American mind, so that I could really understand it and go deeply into that information. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Again, focusing on the result and not the method.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Good. I want to take a minute to talk about this new workshop that I've got coming up, because I'm so excited about it. We don't start till January, so you have a little time to sign up, but there's a free pay that expires in like 10 days. So if you're interested and you want to pay over time, you might want to jump in right now. This class is called Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops. And you can actually go to turnyourwisdomintoworkshops.com and check it out. There's the offer. You can go to turnyourwisdomintoworkshops.com. I gotta say, this website isn't even totally done. But I got so excited about offering this that I kind of jumped ahead. Because here's what I noticed. Everything good that's ever happened to me came from teaching workshops, right? I started teaching the Get It Done workshop a million years ago. It got me the book. And have you guys seen this? The book has been published in Korean. This is Korean. Look how beautiful this book is, right? Who's the book? And in China, we have here Get It Done in Chinese.
With Garfield.
With Garfield. With Garfield. It's the weirdest, most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me. Like 10,000 copies of this book. I had never dreamed that when I started, I was teaching in a church basement in Van Nuys to 8 people. Is Robin on this call? She was at one in my house. There were 4 people, and I did it at my house. Right? I started so small, but everything great has come out of that. So I really want to teach you guys how to turn your wisdom into workshops in a way that feels super great to you and really includes all the nitty-gritty, real life, been there, done that, of how to name it, how to price it, how to pick it, what of your skills do you want to teach, how to market it, what to do once the class is filled. And this applies to both in person, in real life classes, and online. There'll be probably a slight weightedness towards teaching online, just because it's so easy and it's so much easier to make money and to reach the people who are really right for you. My experience is it's really hard to get 10 people in a room, even in Los Angeles. But it's not that hard to get a couple hundred people on a call or on a webinar. So, but the principles are true for both, whether you want to teach in person or you want to teach online. I'm going to do a step-by-step tutorial on how you set up a webinar or a teleclass, like a really hold your hand, step-by-step tech thing. You also get, so that you can start right away, because like I said, the class doesn't actually start until January 21st, I think. But as soon as you sign up, you get the course that I taught last year, which is called Write Great Emails, which is a 6-session on-demand class of everything I know about how to create great, compelling emails. Because for my money, email is the cheapest, easiest, most creative and artistic way to reach the people who are really your target market. And we're going to talk about ideal clients in just one second. And you guys know, like, I've won awards for my email marketing, right? I'm a certified Infusionsoft certified consultant and reseller. So I'm in the top couple of hundred email marketing experts in the world, which surprises me as much as anybody, but it's true. So you get that class, which was a $1,000 class. You get that for free. You get a ticket to the Big Yes for free, which is happening in July in Los Angeles. The Big Yes, how to overcome perfectionism, procrastination, and self-doubt and make $10,000 or more from your creativity. You get a free ticket, which has a value of like $2,500, and the sticker price is like, I don't know, $900 or something. I can't remember. You get we're going to give you templates. We're going to give you project plans. We're going to give you like the actual resources that we use to have our workshops run smoothly here in the Organized Artist Company. And you get a year in the 365 Club. So you get a full year of support and access to calls with me. So it's a pretty heavy duty class. So go to turnyourwisdomintoworkshops.com. And even if you're already teaching workshops, but you're not making money at them, or you're having trouble filling them, or you're feeling discouraged around them, I really urge you to sign up. And, you know, satisfaction guaranteed, or your money cheerfully refunded. If 30 days in you don't feel like it's right for you, just let us know. We're happy to give you your money back or offer you a comparable product, and, you know, no harm, no foul. The thing that's incredible about workshops is it'll make you so much better at what you do. There is nothing like teaching something to really learn it and really understand it. It also makes you a better everything. It makes you a better leader, a better communicator, a better writer, a better person, a better citizen. You know, it just calls up all of your best self. It's an incredible tool for self-improvement. And, right, so I told you about how the Get It Done workshop led to the book, which has led to everything. So then my second book, not my second, my fifth book, my latest book, here's how I sold it. I sent a letter to the editor of the first book and said, I have kind of an idea for a new book. And she wrote back and said, great, finally, send me chapter summaries. So I wrote up some chapter summaries and I sent them over to her yesterday morning, and she wrote me back within the hour and said, love it. When do you think you can have a first draft by? And I think we're talking about releasing that book in the fall of 2016. So that's how easy that, and so this is the whole point of this. The course, the book is called Start Right Where You Are, and it's based on the course that I teach, Start Right Where You Are. So teaching the workshop enabled me to work out some of these ideas and get some experience and get some input and get some good client stories, which then turned into the book. Now I've got transcripts from the course, which is making writing the book like a snap. I mean, I don't want to oversell this, but workshops are the schnizzle. So turn your wisdom into workshops. There's, like I said, there's a 3-pay plan that expires December 19th. So if you think you want to pay over time, you want to get in on this super quicko slicko, and you'll get that Write Great Emails thing, you know, tomorrow, and you can get started right away on that. And then the course itself will start in January. Does anybody have any questions about that before we go back and start talking about ideal clients and other fun things? Let's see. Good. Lena, are you seeing anything hot there?
Mariah says, that's so awesome about the new book, Sam. I've seen that I'm clarifying my ideas as I'm offering workshops. Plus, I have pre-writing as I get transcripts from the workshops. Workshopsarethebomb.com. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Marcy says, sounds super exciting. Yeah.
Great. Good. Well, we can keep talking about this as we move through, but I wanted to make sure I made that announcement so that if you're interested in working with me further, this is a great opportunity to do that. It's really moderately priced, and you get like just kind of an avalanche of bonuses. So, you know, it's worth it for the bonuses alone, I think. But that's
totally.
Yeah.
And Kim asks, will the $497 rate change or expire? I think the answer on that is no. If you want to pay over time, the 3-pay will go away December 19th. But yep.
That's right. That's right. Good. Robin says, way to go, Sam. Thanks, Robin. Good. Okay, so yeah, so let's talk about Mariah says, Garfield approved. He never approves of anything. That's how you know now you've made it. Exactly. I'm better than lasagna. Yeah, so here's this thing with I can't get people to buy, or I can't, people seem sort of interested, but then the moment comes and they don't really jump in. There's two things happening. One, I've been talking about a little bit on the 365 Club calls, and we talked a little bit about and start right where you are. So if you were in one of those two groups, you might have heard me say this before, but it's so important. I can't underline this enough. Part of that is that you are getting paid in the currency that you are asking for. Let me say that again. You are getting paid in the currency that you're asking for, in the currency that is okay with you, in the currency that you will allow. So it could be that you are asking for compliments. You are asking for approval, in which case people are giving you compliments and approval and not money. You are asking for Facebook likes. You are asking for, people not to be offended and walk away. And so they're doing that for you because that's what you're asking for. You may be being paid in neglect. I used to do that. I had a big martyrdom complex. Like if there was a cross, I was climbing up on it. I love to I work and I work and I work and I never get anything. So that's kind of what I was asking for, and that's kind of what people gave me. So once it is okay with you that you are getting both affection and money, and you are willing to ask for the money, then people will probably start giving you more money. So that's one. Think the results you are getting is the currency that you are asking to be paid in right now. And on some level, that is okay with you. So that's another opportunity right there with that money is thing. That's another opportunity for you to dig deep and make some art about that and really excavate in yourself. Like, wow, where is it okay with me that why am I so much more invested in approval than money? Where does that come from? What is that about? How does that feel? Where else does that show up in my life? The other part of it, though, is like I said, you may be selling to the wrong people. A successful business is built on selling the right thing to the right person at the right time. So you may have a great product. You may be talking to the right person, but if it's not the right time, they're not going to do it. You may have the right thing at the perfect time, but if you're talking to the wrong person, they're not going to do it. So let's just go through what your ideal client is. Your ideal client needs you. They need you. They need what you have. So all those people who don't need what you have, you don't care about them. I mean, we love them, but we don't care about them. We're not marketing to them. We're not having sales conversations with them. We don't care what they think. Your ideal client knows that they need you. And this is where a lot of you fall short because you have that thing of like, well, everybody needs this. Everybody needs to get aligned with their soul purpose. Everybody needs vitamins. Everybody needs to feel better in their body. Yeah, sure, they do, but not if they don't know that they do. Not if they don't know that they do. And how do you know if they know that they do? Because they're already trying to do something about it. So they're searching online, or they're asking their friends, or they're going to certain bookstores, or they're signing up for a yoga class. They're starting to investigate. They're looking for options, right? So you want to be there when they're looking, because that's how you know that they know that they know that they need you. So they need you. They know that they need you. They're demonstrating that they know that they need you. They can afford to pay you. People who cannot afford to pay you are not your clients. Let me say that again. People who cannot afford to pay you are not your clients. And this took me so long to learn and to understand. And I still work on this one because you want to give it away. You want it to be for everybody. But if people are having such severe rent and grocery issues that they can't afford to pay you for what you're doing, then they have bigger problems than you can really help them solve. Or at least bigger problems than I feel like I can help them solve. I won't speak for you. And you may want to structure your business so that 98% of the people pay top dollar and you're able to give it away to 2%. Or you have a high-end program that sort of subsidizes everything, and then you can offer your other stuff really inexpensively. So people are paying something so that they notice and appreciate what you're doing. Because I notice when I give stuff away for free, nobody cares. Nobody cares. They don't show up. You know, they just don't value it as highly. So, you know, you can do whatever you want about that, but you cannot build a business around people who can't afford to pay you. You just can't. Another way to approach that, of course, is to set up some kind of not-for-profit where other people are paying for you to deliver services to people who can't afford it themselves. Perfectly acceptable business model, but then you've got to structure it that way, right? Okay, good. And finally, they have a values match. They understand what you're doing. They value what you're doing. You share a concern about the environment, about breathing, about integrity, about freedom and honesty, whatever it is that your value system includes. So they need you, they know they need you, they can pay you, they share your value system. That's an ideal client. Anybody else, we're not talking to. We're just not talking to them. These are the people that we're looking for, and only them. So it makes it a lot easier when you realize you don't have to sell everybody, right? And notice too, most people are never going to buy from you. I mean, there's 10,000 people on my list. Most of them are never going to buy nothing. And that's fine. I give a lot of stuff away. I'm giving this away. Like, it's great. I'm happy to do that. And I have built a business that can be sustained on the people who are willing to invest. You know, if you've got a website and it's converting at 2 or 3%, that's really good. And if it's converting at 5 to 7%, that's kind of rock star. And that's a website, so people are already searching for it, right? They found it because they're searching. They need it and they know they need it, so they're searching and they found you. So if you get even 2% of those people to buy something, that's a business. That's really good. So my question for you is, so that's 2% or 5%. That's 2 out of 100 or 5 out of 100. Have you ever even asked 100 people to buy from you? Have you ever, because I did that. I was like, no one's signing up for my workshops. Well, I wasn't asking enough people. I wasn't asking enough people. So where can you find 100 people of this target market? They're out there. I guarantee you they're out there. And we'll do some work in the Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops thing about how to find them and how to talk to them in a way that will make it compelling for you and for them. Good. Any questions about the ideal client thing?
Leslie says, thank you, Sam. This is a great reminder that we all make choices on how we spend our money and we all pay for what we value, be it an emotional or real need. I would say emotional needs are definitely real needs. I think that, just as a side note, but she says I tend to forget this regularly. Mm-hmm. Angela says, hot damn, I am being paid in approval and compliments. Wow, I am ready for a new currency. Bring it on.
Good insight, Angela. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier once you realize that, like, oh, no wonder no one's paying me in money. I haven't been asking for money. And I joke around that in the early days of the Organized Artist Company, my sales strategy was something like, give it away, give it away, give it away. Oh, by the way, I kind of have something for sale if you want, but you don't have to buy it if you don't want to. Let's talk about something else. Like, it's hard for people to buy when you don't really give them the opportunity and the means to buy. Okay, so then I promised you the one sentence that turned everything around for me. One of the decisions I made in my business about pricing is not, you may notice, I don't really offer discounts or 2-for-1 or, you know, that sort of tiered. Sometimes I'll do like an early bird pricing, especially for the live event for Big Yes, because it really matters to me to know, the sooner I know that people are coming, the easier that planning is for me. So I really want to give a good incentive to people to jump in early. But on the whole, like somebody asked, will this $4.95 price change? No, that's the price. And it just felt better to me. It just felt, because I realized I was annoyed like by the airlines. It's like, well, how come I paid $517 for my ticket and the guy sitting next to me paid $317? Because we bought on different days? That doesn't seem fair. That doesn't seem right. So in my own fairness and my own ometer, I've just sort of set my prices, and that's pretty much it. Like sometimes I'll offer a fast action bonus or a 3-pay or something early, but in general, this is the policy, and this is the sentence that changed everything for me. You ready? It means no one ever quibbled with me about money ever again once I said this. The price of the work is the price of the work. I am worth it, and so are you. The price of the work is the price of the work. I am worth it, and so are you. So when people say, oh, can you do it for less? Or, oh, you know, this person over there is charging this much, and I don't really want to pay that much. Say, well, the price of the work is the price of the work. I'm worth it, and so are you. And that's one of the other reasons why you really want to charge them a fair price and a noticeable price. Because if you don't charge people enough, they're not going to notice. We notice the things we pay for. We notice it. We notice the fancy dinners. We notice the front row tickets. We notice the expensive sweater. We notice the classes and coaches that we pay top dollar for. We really pay attention because we paid for it, darn it, and we want to get our value's worth. So in some ways, there's value in just the charging of a lot because it gets their attention, it gets them focused in a way that if they're paying just a little bit and they're not really that focused, well, are you really serving them? Is that really helping them? It's an interesting inquiry. So that's it. Once I came up with that phrase, the price of the work is the price of the work, I am worth it and so are you, like, whew, it helped me be so much cleaner and so much clearer about what my offer was and where I was not willing to compromise. And the minute I made that stand, I've had people choose not to work with me, but I've never had anybody say, your prices are unfair or you're not worth it. They just decide they don't want to do it, which is fine. The price of the work is the price of the work. You are worth it, and so are they. If you are interested in working with me further, please join me for this brand new workshop. And you guys know how I get when I'm teaching something new. Like, it's a flurry of new worksheets and exciting stuff, and there'll probably be more bonuses as I go because I think of new things I want to offer. But it's a great bargain, and I would love to help you develop a signature workshop that really elevates you, that positions you properly, that allows you to share your gifts with the world and be compensated for those gifts in a way that allows you to have a sustainable life that you love. That's my agenda. Good. Any other questions?
Cheryl asks if you could repeat the 4 ideal client matches.
Yes. They need you. They know they need you. They can afford to pay you. They share your value system. I'll give you an example of the value system thing. You all know about Tom's shoes, right? You buy a pair of their shoes, they give a pair of shoes to a child without shoes. They've made a value statement with their business. It's part of their business model. So would I normally pay $70 for a little pair of canvas shoes? Maybe, maybe not. Some of them are kind of cute, but $70. However, it buys a pair of shoes for someone who needs it. I will happily pay more. They found their target market in me. I needed a pair of shoes. I knew I needed a pair of shoes. I could afford to buy the pair of shoes, and I matched their value system.
Awesome. Catherine says, this is kind of a big question, but regarding ideal client, any advice on how to find or tap into these markets of ideal clients, either via social media or otherwise? This is just constant pursuit.
Yeah, where are they? Where are they hanging out? You know, if they're moms, are they hanging out at the school ground? Are they hanging out at the dog park? Are they hanging out at the Whole Foods? You know, if they're college students, are they on campus? Are they in the cheap neighborhood that's near the school? Are they at the club? If they're actors, are they at the coffee shop? Are they in class? Are they driving around town looking for, going to audition? You got to figure out where they are and then meet them there, right? So what magazine are they reading? What book are they reading? If they're moms, maybe you want to sponsor an event at the school. If they're yoga students, maybe you want to partner with a yoga studio and do an evening gallery. I paint Krishnas, so I'm going to do a gallery event at the yoga studio because it'll be nice for the yoga studio to have an evening thing. And, those people are kind of my market, whatever. So go to where they already are. Go to where they already are so they can already find you. And then that's true online too. Find the groups and organizations that already exist, the, alumni associations, Chamber of Commerce. There's a million ways. But first do that into, this is why creative people make such great business people. It's because you're so intuitive, you're so empathic, you can sort of make a picture in your mind of like, okay, who's really the perfect person for this work or this service or this product? And then you just allow your imagination to make a picture of them. And where are they? What are they doing? What are they saying to themselves? How are they talking to themselves about their problem? Right? And then how can you find them and enter into that conversation with them? Good? How else are we doing? Let's see.
Kathy says, thank you, Sam. You have uplifted my beliefs and my values.
I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. Here, there's a question here. Good, we'll check out the workshop. Great. How much longer will we go? Right now, I'll just go until I've answered as many questions as I can. Good, thank you, Suzanne. Happy to see you.
Lisa says, uh-oh, I am being paid in martyrdom, LOL.
Yep, good to know, right? Great. Kathy says, how does one come up with a fee in the theater that is fair to me but doesn't mean that I'm not as good as the young guy? Well, again, I would go to, I'd go to some of those criteria we talked about before. What is the cost of delivering the services, cost of goods, overhead, paying you, paying taxes, paying into the business, having the business have a profit. And also, what is your swiftness, your efficiency, and what's the story you want to tell? Does that help? I mean, I'm just sort of repeating what I said before. You got to know there isn't a right answer, right? There's not a the way to determine your pricing. It's 100% made up. Not 100%, but it's mostly made up. What's the difference between somebody who charges $500 for a session or $5,000 for a session? $500 for a painting or $5,000 for a painting? What's the difference? The difference is the story they're telling. And remember, everybody has the money. Everybody has the money, unless they're having severe rent and grocery issues, which again, that puts them into a different category entirely. But in general, pretty much everybody has the money. They're just spending it on something else, which is fine. They're allowed to do that. But don't ever let anybody tell you they don't have the money, because they do. They're just spending it on other things.
Kim says, I know I have judgment towards people who have money and who could pay more. I'm struggling to reconcile my judgment as I fear I won't respect them or enjoy working with them.
I encourage you to up your level of compassion. I mean, that's prejudice, is what that is. So I would take a look at that prejudice. My experience is that people with money have, that their life is just as hard and painful for them as your life is for you. They struggle exactly as much as you do. They may struggle in a different neighborhood. They may struggle wearing different clothes. They may struggle in first class instead of struggling in coach. But I'm here to tell you, pain is pain. When your child is sick or you're you get rejected, or you get a disappointment, or you have a financial setback, or your animal dies, those pain don't know an income level. They don't know a decimal point. When you're in physical pain, that's not less painful for people who have money. And in some ways, they have a bigger problem because they don't feel like they're allowed to complain, because everybody thinks they've got their life made because they're so rich. Right? So come to them as a person, come to them as a human, and say, I want to help you heal your pain. And we'll be grateful that you have the resources to pay me really easily. And I'll be grateful that I have the resources to help you really easily. And together we can solve this problem. But don't go making up a story in your head that people with money have it easier. That's just as much prejudice as thinking that, people with that kind of skin tone are that way, or people who live over there are like that. Some of them are jerks, but some poor people are jerks too. So.
Yeah, and also, what are you getting out of having judgment about people who have more money than you? I mean, you are on this webinar, which tells me you want to make more money than you currently do. So you want to have more money than you. So I think that judgment actually keeps you further away from moving towards where you want to go. I mean, and if you hate people who have money, if you don't like people who have money can usually feel that, and that will come up in the sale, like in the transaction.
Right. Why would I want to work with somebody that I felt disapproved of me?
Right. Who I felt judged me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And no, I've always said I love people with money, and I love rich people, and I hope to become one. And I don't get this whole thing of like, people in first class are snooty, or the people at the fancy grocery store are snooty. My experience is they're not snooty. They're lovely. My experience is they're lovely. Beth reminded me of something very important that I've taught many times before, and I'll say it again for you guys. I used to have a sign up above my phone to remind me, state your price and then stop talking. State your price and then stop talking. One of the first intensive workshops I did, like a 2 or 3 day intensive, I was talking to a friend of mine about doing some catering for it. And I had told him what I needed. And I didn't mention a budget because I didn't really know how much something like this might cost. So he took some time and thought about it and came back to me with a couple of menu options. And he told me what he wanted to get paid. And it was so low. I was a little struck. Like, he said the amount, and I don't remember what it was, but let's say it was $500. And I was like, that can't be right. Like, it's got to be at least twice that. So while I was thinking, he's not charging me enough, he jumps in and says, and if that's too much, I could do less. We don't have to use this, and you could pay me overtime. And I'm like, Brian, stop. You're bargaining yourself down to the bottom. I'm happy to pay you that, and I'm going to pay you more because that's ridiculous. Like, there's no way you can be making a profit if that's all you're charging me. But he was starting to bargain himself out of a job. I also remember when I really wanted to up-level my business and I wanted to enroll in a VIP coaching program, I was calling around and talking to some coaches, and I talked to one woman who was very good. She asked some good questions. She had some good insights. And then she told me how much she charged, and it was $750 a month for, I think, 2 sessions. And I thought to myself, oh, you can't help me. You don't charge enough. I was like, that person might have been able to get me from where I was to, from where I had been to where I was in that moment. But I'm like, that's not that far off of what I charge. Like, you don't charge enough. You can't help me.
Yeah, it's totally true. When you don't charge enough, you send the message that you only work with beginners or people who don't know what they're doing, because you don't know what you're doing, honestly.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Lisa says, I literally bite my tongue after I say the price to keep from saying anything. I imagine that the silence on the other end is them checking their credit card balance.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's amazing how often, I remember hearing from one of my clients, he told me, he says, I just sold my first $6,000 package. And I was like, yay, that's so great. And he goes, yeah, he says, they asked me how much it was. And I said, it's $6,000. Because you can hit the mute button if you have to, like, stop talking. And he said there was this long pause, and then they said, will you take a check? Yes, I will take a check. And this is the part, like, I wish I had some way to like transfer this experience to you, because I know, like I said, from experience, how challenging it is emotionally and spiritually and intellectually to raise your prices and say that price out loud and really feel like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm worth it. It's good. I'm worth it. And so are they. Okay. There's so much confusion and trepidation about it on this side of it. But once you've done it and then the money's in the bank, it's so much better.
It's so true. It's one of those things that, like we were talking about earlier, it's totally all in your head. And it's amazing how it's can be so not a big deal, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little like the first time you had sex. Like before you had sex, it was like, what's it going to be like? What's going to happen? I've read about it, but I don't really know. And then you're like, oh, okay, let's do that again. That was fun. Let's do that again. At least I hope that was your experience. Ursula says, how long will this offer be available? Well, the class starts January 21st, which I realize is not like great for urgency. You know, one of the things you're supposed to do when you're selling is like create urgency. That's like act now, buy now. But you know, the class starts when the class starts, and I'm not going to, you know, make something up to try and compel you to do it. So I would jump in before January 21st. If you want the 3-pay option, though, you need to buy in the next 10 days, because that offer will be off the table January 19th. Because otherwise then you're paying me like way after the classes ended, and that doesn't make any sense. So so if you want the 3-pay, I would jump in right away. It also makes a lovely gift. If there's somebody who's wondering what to get you, you might say, you know, you could help me pay for this workshop class. Jessica says, thanks for a great presentation. My pleasure. Robin says, what if I don't have a clear idea for a workshop but have lots of ideas? Then this is totally the workshop for you. I can absolutely help you with that. And that's one of the things we'll be looking at, is how do you pick a topic and find something that's really compelling and resonant, and how do you title it? Because naming a workshop is 90% of the job almost. That's not quite true, but it's a really important part, and a part that often gets neglected, and that can be hard to do inside, because again, you get confused about what it is you're offering, and I happen to be really good at this marketing part of it, of figuring out what's going to appeal to the right people. Good. Amelia says, one of my areas of work is a makeup artist for local filmmaking, and it's the people who get how important makeup is that want to pay. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. If you've ever tried to shoot a movie with a bad makeup person, dude, I mean, you can't do it. You just can't do it. So right, so you find the people who already understand the value of what it is you're offering. You don't really want to try and convince people who don't know about the value of what you're offering. Have you noticed you can't really convince anybody of anything? That's what I notice. So we want the people who are already into it, the people who are already paying for it, the people who are already interested. Good.
Suzanne asks, the workshop is on demand, and can it be reviewed as many times as we'd like? I think you're talking about Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops. So it will be taught live. So you will be on the phone with us as we go through it. And of course, everything's always recorded. So if you miss a class, it's fine. You'll get the recording right away. And yes, you'll get the workshops, the worksheets and the recordings, and that will be yours forever.
Right, exactly. So yeah, you get the Write Great Emails workshop right away. Those are on demand. You can watch them as many times as you want, download them, whatever. Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops, yes, be delivered weekly, and then you'll get access to those recordings, and you'll have those forever as well. And then there's the 365 Club, which has a monthly call with me the third Thursday of every month, so that as the year rolls out, because I'm not expecting, I mean, maybe you could offer a workshop in the 6 weeks that we actually have the class. That would be really cool. But I'm expecting that it would probably happen after that, and I wanted you to make sure you had access to me so you can continue to ask questions or see how things roll out. Linda says, can you elaborate on the 2 statements that will keep anyone from quibbling about your price? Right, so the price of the work is the price of the work. I'm worth it, and so are you. And what that did for me, anyway, inside of my mind, was first of all, it separated the work from me. It's like my self-esteem was really low. And so this whole thing of like, well, they're paying me, and that's what we were talking about at the beginning. Like, am I worth it? Am I worth it? Am I worth it? That's not the question. The question is, what is the value of the work to them? It's not, am I worth it? So it's separated that out for me, like the price of the work, what you get from doing the work with me, what you get from this exchange, this process, this buying this thing, engaging in this service, taking this workshop, is worth it. You will get value, the stated value out of it. And the work is worth it, and so are you. So is the person paying for it. You know? And that's a big thing too. I think when people are constantly bargain hunting or constantly looking for special arrangements or something, it reflects something, sort of a low self-esteem thing in them. So it's a good exercise for them to say, you know what, I am going to pay this. I am worth it. In the same way that you go like, I am going to take myself out to a nice lunch. I deserve it, right? That those gestures of self-worth can be really meaningful, especially for those of us who did not exactly grow up in the Happy Childhood Club. To be able, you know, we may have had parents who weren't able to say that to us, or grew up in circumstances in which that wasn't approved of. But now we're grown-ups. So we get to do it for ourselves and say, I'm really proud of me. I'm going to reward myself by doing this. And I think paying full price for things is kind of a matter of pride with me now. Like, I don't want a discount. I want to pay you what your work is worth, what you're asking for it. I don't want to buy it just because it's on sale or because it's a great bargain. I like a great bargain. I enjoy a great bargain, but that's not why I'm buying it. Right? So it feels very clean to me, that statement. Anne says, sorry, I joined a little late. I see a comment about get a C advice. What is that? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we haven't talked about that on this call, but it's one of my signature pieces of advice. Here's how this goes. For those of you who might have perfectionistic tendencies, for those of you who feel like you're not sure that what you're doing is really good enough, I urge you to get a C. C is the grade that you get for showing up and doing the work. Show up, do the work. Show up, do the work. Get the website up. Get the email out. Get the offer out. Just get it out of the house. Here's why this works. First of all, your version of a C, probably everybody else's version of an A. Have you noticed this? That like you do something and you think, that's not very good. And then everybody else is like, oh, that's amazing. You're a terrible judge of your own work. Have you noticed this? You are a terrible judge of your own work. So you can afford to have something that you think is a little meh go out. It doesn't have to be as perfect as you think it has to be in order to be successful. And in fact, I will guarantee you that the thing that you do that's going to be most successful is going to be the thing that you're like, that dumb thing is the thing that's most successful? Yes, that dumb thing. People get to like what they like about your work. Second of all, if you get it out there and then you realize it really does need to be made more perfect, like, you know, something's wrong with it or it's not, the quality's not as good as it needs to be, then you'll make it better. No big deal. Director's Cut 2.0, new edition, here you go, right? So yeah, so get a C has to do with just getting out of your head, quit worrying about the perfectionist thing, and just get it out there. Show up, do the work, show up, do the work. Suit up and show up. Leslie says, do you price your artwork differently based on location? I'm finding different areas have different price points, or is that just my thinking? Yeah. Certainly, you know, some areas are more affluent than others. And what the market will bear in certain areas is different than what the market will bear in other areas. It's one of the reasons I like selling online, is because you can reach everybody. But I wouldn't change my prices based on location if it were me. Because you never know how much money people have. It's amazing how much money people have and what they're spending it on. Somebody just told me about somebody who was spending $36,000 on a jet ski. And this is not somebody who's got a ton of money. Like, they're not rolling in dough, but they got $36,000 for a jet ski. So, yeah, I would not if it were me, I would not change my prices based on location. Cynthia says, I tried a local 6-part class, but only got one person to sign up. Right, so then you were either asking the wrong people or offering the wrong thing or offering it at the wrong time, or maybe all 3 of those things. Evelyn says, is the word session 1 hour or could be all day? Oh no, they'll be like an hour and 90 minutes. I just like session better than class because class sounds like hard. That's all. Good. Cynthia says, should I have canceled the class? You know, it's up to you. Angela tells a story that I just love. The first time she offered a workshop and and no one signed up. So she did it, but she had booked the room already. So she went to the room with her teddy and she delivered the workshop to her teddy, which I thought was a brilliant idea. It gave her an important experience in delivering the material. It gave her a good dress rehearsal. She was, you know, ramped up and ready to go, might as well do it. And I think it sends an important message to the universe. It says, nope, I'm teaching this. I'm teaching this. There are people, they are coming. They may not be in this room right now, but they are coming. So especially if you're just starting out, I would say, go ahead, yeah, do it with one person, sure. But I'd also try to get some more people in there. Good. Crystal says, I watched your interview with Prema Lee last week, Sam, and I have to say that I love your no fluff, straightforward approach. Feels like a value match I've been looking for. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. Prema's great. I like her stuff. Good. Camille says, I love this and we'll take the workshop. Thank you, Sam. Yay, Camille. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Nancy says, I'm doing my first workshop in February. Great timing. Great, great. And Leonore and I are excited to like really get show you the deep down and dirty stuff that like no one ever tells you about actually doing this stuff.
Totally. Look at all my flow charts.
Her flow charts are a thing to behold. Karina says, I'm giving a 1-hour workshop on January 23rd on career development. Am I a good match for this series? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, you'll get great emails right away, and that will help improve your marketing for that thing that's coming up on the 23rd. And all the information that unfolds over the course of the workshop will help you, you know, when you offer it again, for sure. Good, good. Excellent. Everybody's saying thank you. Terrific. We've been at this for about 90 minutes, and I want to make sure I answer the questions that you guys have, but I also want to let us get on with our day. I really, I'm so interested in how much energy there is around this, around how stuck people feel and how beautiful it is on the other side of the stuckness. So if you know that you are holding yourself back, please do the work that you need to do to get free. And if I can help you do that, I would love to. I think this workshop is a great venue for that. So it's turnyourwisdomintoworkshops.com. And that 3Pay ends December 19th. So you want to hop in on that right away. Evelyn says, thanks so much for your insightfulness. Thank you for your insightfulness. I appreciate that. Leonore, wonderful to have you with us. Thank you so much. You're my rock.
My pleasure. Thanks everyone for being here. It was really great.
Let's do one more breathing just to sort of close out this circle. You ready? We're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for doing this with me.